Okay, it is 6 p.m. So let's call this meeting to order with a flag salute, please. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and all. That is a great transition that happened at the game on Saturday with technical difficulties. Yeah, pretty good. Wow. Yeah. Great job. I will mention his name because I'm sure he'd blush anyways. Are there any adjustments that are needed to the agenda tonight? No. Jamie, will you speak up if we don't look up and I don't see your hand? Will you just interrupt, please? Will do. Thank you. All right, so we have a consent agenda in front of us. Is there a motion to consider for the consent agenda?
I move to approve the consent agenda.
All right, and is there a second?
I'll second that.
George seconds. Any discussion? All right, Laura, roll call vote.
Okay. Jamie?
Yes.
Yes. George?
Yes.
Soren?
Yes.
Christine?
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0.
Great, thank you. Any patron comments, Laura?
No.
Okay. We'll move straight into reports and we'll go to you, Stacey, for our superintendent K-12 report. Okay.
It froze on him, sorry.
Technical difficulties.
Yes, exactly. All right, so I know I've talked about this the last 3 months. Past report is officially submitted, approved by ODE. It's on our website, so we're all in compliance on that aspect of Division 22. Let's see. We have a new site. It's a different site evaluation, so it's not so much the safety plan, it's more a compliance title.
Okay.
Compliance, so like our ramps, are they at the right angle, the steps, all of those pieces. We have a 400-page document that outlines quite a few improvements that need to be made. We can do that over a 30-year period. So Keenan right now is working with me, but he really is the lead on it, of a 5-year plan, 10-year plan, 20 and 30, because we're talking millions of dollars.
Okay.
Even down to our bleachers, which are beautifully redone. They're kind of special to all of us. They are not up to code as far as the step heights and the difference in all of those steps. And so all of those details are addressed, and what's a priority and what do we need to allocate funds for immediately. And then over the next 5, 10, 15 years. So it's the same process. If you want to check that out, we can email it to you. It's also in a binder and now it's here. TAP grants. So there's a new piece with PACE Insurance. And basically, the TAP grant would pay for an evaluation of our structure. So we did the seismic, but that does just like a partial evaluation. This actually goes in and looks for the structural soundness of the entire building. And ZCS, who's the firm that did the seismic, they also do these evaluations. And so we applied for the $10,000 grant that would pay for their services to come in and evaluate. And it would tell us what absolutely needs to be done for safety, what could be at fault if something were to happen. But basically, PACE Insurance is requiring that now, so that if something does happen and it hasn't been completed, they could potentially not cover us, even though we are insured by them. So it's just one new layer.
They'll pay for the evaluation, but not the...
No, yes, exactly. There are additional grants that you can go after, but at least you have that documented of what is secure, sound, and what needs to be redone. Okay, so that's coming. Schedules and systems. So we have second semester up and running. We had some new classes brought in for the second semester for our secondary title. We've hired that title teacher. So our RTI is truly happening. We have one more piece that will really finalize that for tier 3. But during our math time, which is an hour chunk, and our English time, we have tier 1, which is the classroom. We have title, which typically does tier 2. And then we have SPED that will be addressing tier 3. And that will all be happening every single day. I know today the math team met to go over data and get kids in groups. So we're pretty excited about having that full service in place. Observations, the informal ones are happening. Instructional rounds beginning. I really wanted to have that done last month, and with all the changes, it just did not happen. So it's happening this month. Calendar options, we do have those. Those were sent, correct? Okay, so we'll be talking about that in new business. I know I talked about the survey that I sent out to staff. We actually had all but one, I think, respond. So great turnout. And then I took that into two different samples, took it to a staff meeting, and we all talked about it, and they voted on what they would like to bring to the board. And so that's what you see tonight. And it was a unanimous vote by the staff. MAC training underway, SPED IA training. So in this whole transition, we've really found out where some room for improvement was. So we've been doing some training, getting new systems in place. If you want to see any of that, I'll share it with you. But progress monitoring for all the aides to do that are aligned with the students' goals and how that can work into progress monitoring and ultimately their success. Some new pieces there. Cyclical monitoring for cohort A with ODE for SPED compliance. It was completed in January. I did just receive that back from ODE, and there's some non-compliance factors. And so we'll be working on that. I have a webinar next week to find out what I need to do. I'm hoping some of these changes that we have in place just this week are going to address some of those shortfalls. Let's see, outdoor school grant funding. It's been secured. I know we're working on that process right now. Students are getting their paperwork in, so they're excited about that. Fiscal season, budget season is in full swing. I know Stephanie's been working with Nancy on that. Again, watching ODE and COSA and all of the legislative advocates. Still a shortfall. It's not nearly the shortfall they were projecting, so things are looking up. Still being fiscally conservative is important. But they are definitely telling us, don't be cutting positions if you don't, unless in your own district you have those needs, but don't freak out yet. Okay. So that's on the horizon. Grant reporting for quarter 2 nearly done. Learn at home. So I know this went on for several months, but the Learn at Home platform that we tried to switch to save some significant funding really didn't work. We lost some families over it. And so we regrouped. We said, nope, it's not worth it. We're going to get this back in place to support our families, and we will just work on recruiting more students to support that. So we went back to our original. And I think, Laura, we lost like 6 families from Learn at Home.
Not because of the shift in
Not
the
just
program. We
because of
only
it.
lost 2 families, but they were 2 families with 2 kids. So
Yeah, right. So, and we don't want to lose families for those kinds of reasons.
Yeah.
So, discipline data. So I'm sorry, it's not a pretty visual, but it's just some hard facts. So honestly, our trackers are down over the last 2 months compared to the speed at which they were accruing the first several months of school. I know we've had some breaks in there. And so sometimes that can actually enhance the number that are happening, but they are going down. I cannot tell you exactly why that is.
Quick question
Yep.
on that really quick. Do you gut feeling?
Yeah.
I know data is great,
Right.
gut feeling. Do you feel like that the numbers are down because the behaviors are getting better, or because staff are reporting it less? Do you have a feel on that?
I think it's probably a mix of both. Okay. I think we are getting into a swing of things that this is the new norm. This is what is going to be allowed here. This is the vibe that we're after. But I also know people are tired.
Yeah.
And so it's very feasible that they're not writing as many, or they're trying to handle them a little bit more in class and just not writing those trackers.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. Good information. Thank you.
We have had some level 1 threat assessments, and then safety plans and suspensions, not expulsions, but dealing with some of those one-offs and getting those students the supports they need. Okay. And then I just broke it down by the category for you so you can see it. We have our attendance data in there. Really attendance is still pretty good. We have a few high flyers that are gone a lot. We have RAP services trying to support them and get them here as much as possible. I feel like our team is doing a great job with accessing those resources. And sometimes there are situations that throw us a curveball and we just don't know what else to provide here. Okay, athletics, I just threw that in this one. High school's wrapping up. I can't even believe it. Like, it's so busy, but we're on our last week. Senior night is Thursday. I know the district tournament is the following Saturday, but I haven't heard yet exactly like times because we don't know yet. But I'll get that all shared out. Middle school basketball's full swing happening. And elementary as well. We have a third, fourth team and they play on Saturdays. Track meeting already in place for the 21st. That will start just around the corner with Mr. Roberts for high school. And I believe Ricky for middle school.
In the past.
I think that's what it is. Okay.
As far as I know, she's still doing it.
Okay. And then community engagement, we have our reschedule for March. I believe it's the 2nd. Okay, at 5:00. And I will, as we get a little bit closer, I will get some flyers and put out. I probably could this week. Just feel like sometimes if I do it too soon, it just gets lost in the shuffle.
Mhm.
So I was thinking like the end of the week, put something out and then every week after that. Yeah. I have a survey. I shared it with you. Actually, I had Laura share it with you. I want to get that out to the community on the thought of moving 6th grade into middle school. Get some feedback there, as well as with the staff. I hadn't thought about asking the students, and it hit me today that maybe I should ask the students as well, get some of their feedback, or maybe just work on the adults right now, and then see what kind of concerns the kids might have if we move forward with it. Kind of go from there. It's really good to get student feedback and input, but sometimes we need a little bit clearer path first to then get their feedback. And then community nights on the horizon. So this Thursday is also the Warm Fuzzies. It's kind of an artsy craft thing, and it's right after school. So that's going to be what's going to be happening. And then we have literacy night in April and health and wellness fair as well. Rebuild of the website, all of the aptitude is coming kind of in process. We're doing trainings on that and I'm excited about it, but it's a big lift. So I really don't have any information on it other than all the trainings are happening and they're hoping to have it roll out in the next 4 to 6 weeks. So right now they're migrating the website. They're getting everything kind of prepped and then we'll do a preview. We had 2 samples to look at.
We have another training tomorrow.
So it's exciting. I'm excited about it. I think it's going to be really effective. Of course, it's a learning curve for everybody. So
There's so many places to look for stuff like schedule things, particularly. Like athletics will change, like one place, but maybe someone has to go in and manually do it all. And
Yep.
Nice to have it all.
it'll be great in one space. Yeah, and the athletics, I will
Mhm.
say, we've had too many different people in that role this year. Just flat out, that's the way it works. We need one point of contact.
We'll talk about that a little bit too.
Yep. So
I know, Soren, you had some
Yeah,
questions.
some questions. Yeah.
But I think several of them I will ask later. Like I had questions about the cyclical monitoring
Mhm.
that we have later in the agenda where you talk about just that. I think there was for some reason I thought that was one of those.
I don't think we do.
So
I just I just brought it to your attention just to keep you apprised of all of the
and my
happenings.
question is just about understanding the terminology. When we say student level noncompliance, are they referring to like interactions between students and staff members, something in that area?
No, it's going to be more on so there's timelines on everything. Once there's a referral, there's so many days to hold the meeting. So I am guessing it's going to be some non-compliance there, that somewhere we went over some meeting dates. My meeting on the 17th is with the lady at ODE to take me through that. So I actually don't know all of the reasons yet.
Yeah, my next question was, is it, they talked about non-compliance that is, I don't remember the terminology, but that you had to fix right away, or they were talking about systemic non-compliance at this level,
We
at
do
this
have,
time.
yes.
You-
Okay. So the deadline to have this work in place or an action plan in place is March 21st. And then January of 2027, it has to be fully in effect.
And these are all things that you can fix fairly rapidly. They're not like, at one point they referred to something like systemic non-compliance where you have to like change policies and stuff. But
Yeah,
Is it
to be honest, I don't know if it'll be policies, but from diving in over the last month, there are a lot of things that need to be redone. And we're rapidly doing those. So is it a big lift? Yes. Can it be done? Yes.
And there was a reference to district compliance specialist. Is that an ODE employee that?
It is. Yeah, that's assigned to us. Yes.
My next question was about the learn at home, but I can save that, or you want me to?
You can ask it. Yeah.
It was about, so the platform. So are you going to continue to work over the contract period to find another one? Is it still an idea? You're just like,
I think
no,
we're going to just stick with
this one works?
Yep. And we talked, I know we're looking at doing an ad campaign right now and just increase that enrollment to cover it.
My next question is more specific to learn at home and does have to do with the platform. Like, learn at home, really, I would think it's like a gold star online school. And I know a lot of that has to do with the leadership and the staff. I'm wondering how much the platform has to do with that. Is it like so easy to use that people really like it? Does it have any part of the success of learn at home, or is it?
I think it helps. Yes, I definitely think it's starting for sure. But I think the ease of it, and that's what the families are familiar with.
So is this a platform that multiple online schools use, or is it like purpose built for us?
Oh, I think multiple schools use it. I don't know how many or who, but it's that's their business. So
Yeah, I'm just trying to suss out, is the platform a
Specific
big,
to us,
or
yeah.
is it a huge part of what makes learn at home so good? Like sounds like probably not. If other schools are using it, and
yeah, I don't think it's ticket. I don't think it's the magic ticket, but I think switching away from it was not the ticket either. So
Technology change is hard.
yes.
yeah, that's
My families were frustrated they're trying to work and get their kid online
Right.
and just all of those pieces was really frustrating. So
And the discipline
Mhm.
data. First, I had questions about the abbreviations and terminology.
Oh, sorry.
Not so. Don't be sorry. I just will ask because I'm not familiar with like ISS.
in school suspension.
Okay,
And then OSS is out of school suspension. And I will say, I mean, within our discipline matrix, which is a guide, there are severities for ISS, a little bit more severity for OSS. However, sometimes there are situations where it's not safe for that kid to be out of school unsupervised. And it's a better learning environment for them to be here doing their work under our supervision. And the parents agree with that, even though it might only be what appears to be a lesser punishment. It's actually more beneficial to the kid. And so that then
out of school suspension. I never really understood that as punishment very well.
Yeah.
Unless your parents are at home and they're we
Yeah.
need to keep you in line.
Yep.
And then I've been disciplined. Like I've been thinking about discipline for quite a while. And this is the first time we've actually seen the data on it. And I know that disaggregated data is not something that you're going to share with the public.
Right.
For obvious reasons.
Yeah. Yes.
But are you and maybe other people can use that to like identify, what did I write? Did you look at that disaggregated to identify opportunities to improve situations where there's excessive referrals? Like it would be obvious, but
And it's pretty obvious. Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
because I've heard people talk about there's like tough classes or there's a
Right.
bunch of like kids in class that are always getting in trouble. I'm like, I don't know that there's a whole class of bad kids. It's,
Right.
to me, it seems like that would be more like there's an environment that could be
It could be
adjusted
healthier.
to.
Mhm. Yes. Yep.
Mhm.
And we do look at that. And honestly, we are so small. We know these individuals. We know.
Because to me, it seems like the discipline data would best be used to just make the school better. You're not
Yeah.
like trying to figure out, like,
Oh, totally. How do we improve? Yes, exactly. And this
we got to
is
do something different to help them.
Yeah.
The reason they're
and that intervention team that meets once a month. All of this data goes there, and we talk specifically about each individual and those high flyers and what we can do for rep services. Does that answer
Okay.
your question?
Yes, just making sure that people are looking at the school environment, not necessarily the kids themselves. Like I'm thinking that
We actually look, to be honest, we look at all of it.
Right.
Mhm. Because it's all a factor. All of them are factors.
because I think when a kid is consistently in trouble, I'm more inclined to think that we're doing something wrong, not them.
Sometimes, some case by case, but sometimes there are factors outside of this building that influence that. Sometimes it is the environment here that they're in. It's triggers that it's actually a healthy environment for others, but it's triggers for them based on other factors. So
And I had more questions about the sixth grade and middle school thing. Is now an appropriate time to?
we can't, I think, is it an action item? No, it's just to share with you.
Mhm.
So yeah, ask away.
Really, I'm just curious about the logistics of all that. Like, so sixth grade would just move over to the other side?
Mhm.
And then are there impacts to staffing with that?
No.
If they don't have a homeroom, but there's enough
No.
teachers to get their classes in.
There would be sixth grade math and English and social studies and all the pieces. And then in the afternoon, because the whole master schedule is going to be revamped, so it actually flows a little differently. In the afternoon will be electives.
So currently, do the sixth graders get their English and math from different teachers?
No,
Or is that all
they're
homework?
self-contained right now.
And it's just one teacher does it all. And so in the future, there'll be,
It would be more like a true secondary where they have a different teacher for now, because we are small, a social studies and English could be the same teacher. Sometimes that is a block that works. I'm not that far in this. I mean, I have it in my head. I need to get feedback. I can't go forward saying this is absolutely going to happen if the entire community is like, absolutely not. We don't want this. But yes, typically they have a different teacher for every.
yeah, just in my mind, like, how can you possibly squeeze another class into people's schedules? But
You have another
One
teacher.
does it. Right.
It's been done at all our other districts.
Okay.
It can happen.
Right, thanks.
Two things.
Yep.
Athletics for state playoffs and all of that. Can we just add a link to OSBA? Because really, like, that's our OSAA. Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
Mhm.
Thank you. Yep. Just because that's kind of that old source, right? Like that's what we're going off of.
Typically, yes.
And so if maybe then we can alleviate some questions and like people can
Yeah.
serve
Well, that's where
themselves by
my-
going out to that.
And that's actually where my schedule comes
Perfect.
from is OSAA, but it also comes from every Sunday. I reach out to every athletic director, coach, the refs association.
I just didn't know if that would help if we just put the link there for you too. So if there was anything in that space that they could just also
Just
follow
go
that
there.
link to,
Mhm.
like, because all of the playoff stuff will be posted when they
Yes.
post it and things like that.
Yeah. Yeah, we can do that. I mean,
Didn't know if that was helpful.
it would definitely be helpful. We're still going to get all the questions.
Yeah.
So that's kind of why I put out one thing at the beginning of the week.
Yeah.
But even though we still get questions,
That's still really nice too.
but
And then with the sixth grade moving into the middle school, into that secondary space, how does that impact fifth grade? Like, do we move forward and say like they aren't in middle school any longer? So middle school sports start at sixth grade, seventh grade, eighth grade. I'm just curious what that operational piece looks like.
yeah, so two different districts, it can go either way.
Okay.
A lot of times the youth leagues are a 4-5
Mm-hmm.
blend. When they don't have enough, which is typical in a small school, then they allow the fifth to jump up to the middle school. So I've seen it jump back and forth.
Okay. So it could be,
It could be fluid.
Okay. That answers that. Okay.
Yep.
That's all I have.
Like right now, we wouldn't, without our fifth graders, we wouldn't even have
I
a
know.
middle school team. So, but yeah,
No.
It's interesting compared to last year where there were
and then it,
everybody,
Right.
like, the fifth graders were like, when do I get to play?
Yeah.
Everybody else has to play too.
yeah. And that's with small schools, you have groups that are large and then you have small groups and it just fluctuates. But we can definitely kind of take that on a case by case.
Any other questions? That was a very thorough report. Thank you. All right. Anything on the enrollment report that of note? Yeah, we lost some kids. Any questions from the board on the enrollment reports?
No, I mean, after hearing about that many losses from Learn at Home, I'm like, oh, it doesn't look as bad now. It's just it's not that many. Yeah.
And then next is our regular tenders. Anything of note on the regular tender space?
Just, just when you think that next month's gonna look better,
Then you get a flu bug.
a whole bunch of people get sick. So,
right now is tough.
yeah.
Looks like it's above
It's,
last year.
it's holding,
It's-
but
It's up. It's ugly, but it's up.
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
And for the things that are not illness related and things like that, you would have systems in place to identify that, work through that with families. So
Yep.
that's
I will say
an
our staff.
operational thing that I don't think we really had in the past. So
Gotcha. Yeah. We're able to get work home to kids
Mhm.
who, some if they're, just
If you're gonna be out for an
out
extended
for a
period.
week or something, surgery, those kinds of things, they're still able to get all their work, do it, submit it online. And it's like they're here. Mhm.
at least they're not having to make up a week.
Exactly. Yeah.
You kind of presented on athletics and activities. Is there anything further you wanted to go in on with the athletics and activities?
So end of the season, I don't think it's been done in the past, but I'm going to do evaluations for our coaches. And it is sort of a 360 model. It's not the same questions for everybody. But there is an input section from student athlete and then an input section from the parent. And then just overall coaching evaluation on technicalities and systems and communication and those kinds of pieces.
It's been talked about in the past. I don't think it's been implemented. So I think that sounds great.
I couldn't find one. And so, yeah.
I think it was when Barb was here, they talked about it.
Okay.
And I don't think it got implemented. So
So I wanted to get that done. And then, obviously we'll get spring sports going, but I'd like to have some, honestly, hiring an athletic director and then start having some planning this spring so we can get through summer, get into training, weight training,
Yeah.
conditioning, camps for the coaches, camps for the athletes, all of it. And then we can hit the ground running in the fall.
sounds great. All right. Any questions on that? All right. Learn at home report. Ms. Shunk is not in this evening. But as always, she has a complete and thorough report that she's presented to us. I think at this point, are there questions from the board?
Stacy already took care of my questions.
Wonderful. Then we'll move right into the business manager report and our audit summary.
So I gave a little blip, just a small one from myself, just what our numbers are looking like right now. And then obviously January was busy with year-end things and reports and all the alike. I did do a little comment here that I just copied and pasted from Jackie Olson about the news forecast from Salem, which I think that might have been what you touched on a little bit. So that was kind of nice to tie that together. Anyhow, keeping mine pretty short unless you have any questions, because I will let David Bledsoe chime in and share the audit, which you guys all got a copy of.
Not yet attached. I missed that.
It was attached to mine.
Yeah, it kind of all is one big document.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's why
Yeah.
mine's just taking a while to load. It's fine. We'll just.
Yeah, it was like 97 pages.
Oh, it's all right.
Yeah. Some light reading for the evening.
Yeah. So, before we move into the audit report, any questions for Stephanie on the financials?
I was thinking, looking at that audit report, it looks different from what I thought like previous years. And this doesn't look the same as previous years for some reason to me. I don't know why.
Well, David is here. So then if there's no questions for Stephanie, we will hand the floor over to David. Welcome. Thank you for being here, and let's jump right into the audit report.
Cool. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for having me. Can you hear me?
It sounds like you're really far away.
That's interesting.
Interesting.
That's better.
That's better.
Is our volume doesn't need to go up?
No,
worse.
much better.
That's very good.
Cool. Sorry, just had to switch the microphone. Good evening. Hopefully everyone can hear me out right now. Thank you for the introduction. My name is David Bledsoe. I'm one of the audit managers here at the Poly Writers Company. I've had the pleasure of working on the ALSI audit for a couple of years now. Here to present the results of the fiscal year 24-25 audit. Just to quickly precede this, for those who are unfamiliar with the audit process in Oregon, you got audited not because you did anything wrong, but because it is a matter of state law. Every school district, local government, special purpose district in Oregon goes through an annual financial audit. Again, the numbers we're going to be chatting about briefly here are related to fiscal year ended June 30, 25. So the financial information that Stephanie has provided is much more current and reflective of business transactions that have occurred from July through now February into 26. For the fiscal year ended June 30, 25, we did implement a new accounting standard called GASB 101 that changed how we report compensated absences. It essentially expanded the liability that the district presents on its balance sheet. As far as the financial reports go, as a brief walkthrough, as numbered, pages 1 and 2 of the financial document, we often refer to that as the government-wide statements, in that they include information that is not included in other pages. Pertinent information includes the state's pension obligation via PERS, the retirement healthcare accounts, RIA, capital assets, and long-term debt. That information is looked at as a long-term focus and is not necessarily what the district budgets for and expends on a month-to-month basis. Pages as numbered 3 and 5 are a better reflection of the activities on a month-to-month basis for the district. That includes your balance sheet and your income statement at the fund level. So as you're looking at adherence to budget, inflows, and outflows of resources, those pages are going to have the best information for you. As far as the audit goes, we're happy to report that we had no major findings or communications as a result of the audit. The district received, what you would want, which is a clean opinion, meaning that we did not find anything to otherwise modify our opinion. The books were good, is the short way to say that. Happy to answer any questions anyone may have about the audit, what we did, what we found, or in this case, what we did not find, so on and so forth. But yeah, kind of overall pretty clean audit as far as the district goes. So happy to answer any questions anyone may have.
Yeah, I may be wrong here, but I seem to remember in years past there was like a 1-page kind of summary that was like really easy for those of us who are not really into finance to understand, and I don't see anything like that here. Am I just misremembering?
You may be recalling numbered page 2 of our governing board letter. That's a communication that we provide to the governing body. If I have the ability to share my screen, I'd be happy to show it to you if you could see it. But on that page, there is a results of audit section that it's numbered 1, 2, and 3. That's probably the highlight really you're thinking of that kind of synthesizes what we found and what we did not find. That information for this year includes that you received an unmodified opinion. That means it's a clean opinion. Colloquially speaking, we found no comments under the Oregon minimum standards. That's things like your budget adherence, your bid quote process for expenditures, as well as we did not issue a management letter detailing any significant findings.
Yeah, I think that's what I was remembering is it was comments about any significant or insignificant findings. And what page number would that be in this document?
I'm not sure the document you're looking at, if that's like a board packet that was somewhat sliced into. As the page I'm referring to is numbered 2 of 6, and the governing board letter at the bottom there.
Yes. I really can't. 3 or 6. Oh, it's okay. I can dig into it later. I don't easily find the.
Is it page 16 that you're thinking about?
I do not know.
16 is kind of a summary.
Okay, yeah, that's right. I couldn't find it in the table of contents there, but I do see it now. Thank you, Laura.
You're welcome.
Any other questions for David for the audit findings? Or lack of findings, actually. Thank you. Great work, everybody. I think that might be the quickest audit report we've had in years.
Yeah, no, pretty easy when you don't have much to report. The books were good, so nothing too big to report.
I think if the board has future questions, I know we're missing a member this evening, but we can direct those to the superintendent. They can work with Stephanie for that too. Okay. Well, thank you so much for being here this evening and presenting on the findings.
Absolutely. Y'all have a good rest of your evening.
Okay, we are into new business, which means first, huh?
We're cooking.
First and foremost, I did glaze over a few things. So if there's feedback on that, like I didn't, but if there's feedback for how I did that, let me know. First and foremost is our proposed budget committee calendar, which is beautiful. Let's see. Our first, left the presentation of the budget committee calendars this evening. March 9th, the board fills all of our vacancies. Do we know how many vacancies we have?
We don't have any this year.
Outstanding. And everybody's agreed to come back and help us.
Yes, so therefore, yes.
Yes. We don't put anybody.
No.
No, we just have to
Remind.
just publish it in the March 9th meeting.
We'll publish it, and then I will start now. Once you've approved the calendar, I'll send the calendar to everybody and everything, so they're aware.
Public notice goes out March 26th. And then we have some meetings in April with a couple of tentatives in May. And then we'll present it to the board with the budget committee present and then go from there. So thank you. That's kind of just an overview of that budget calendar, but are there any questions?
Yeah, the public hearing before the school board meeting on Tuesday, June 9th, did we change the date of that meeting from the Monday the 8th?
Oh, it should be Monday, June 8th, because we revised our calendars.
Oh,
Remember,
yeah,
so we're
yeah,
not
yeah.
Tuesdays. So
Yeah. I'll fix that.
so thank you. In fact, most of
My
these,
best thing is why it's little tiny. That combo.
I guess I should just ask this question before this does get voted on. Do we want to move these to Mondays? Because that's usually when we have our board meetings is Monday, and so we had aligned them with our board meetings last time, but do we need to push these all back a day to Monday? So it'll be April 13th, April 20th, May 18th, May 25th, June 1st, June 8th, July 13th.
Certainly could.
Everybody, okay?
I prefer Tuesdays, but I know that other people don't necessarily. That's why we move meetings to Monday.
Yeah.
So do what we gotta do.
There was no basketball at that point.
Mhm.
Track doesn't run on the weeks quite like that. Oh, yeah,
Right.
that day. Yeah. Okay, well, we do need a vote on it this evening. So is there a motion to consider?
I move to adopt the budget calendar with the change of the meeting days of the week to be on the Monday immediately prior to what is printed here.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any further discussion? All right, Laura, roll call vote on that one.
Okay. Jamie,
Yes.
George,
Yes.
Soren,
Yes.
Christine,
Yes.
motion carries 4-0.
Thank you. Okay, Aussie coaching plan with inflection.
Okay, so this is the team of superintendents really across the state that we work with. They have partnered with ODE. The grant was received through ODE, but it pays for this coaching. And so it's part of one of the new initiatives that we have to do. And it's all about our identity work there right now. We're working on taking the strategic plan, the input from the community, the students, the staff, and building out our maxims. And then I actually have one of the coaches coming here in April. The plan is to come to the meeting in April and present how everything sort of meshes together. And we met for 8 hours on Friday and looking at our student voice survey, taking that data, and then we're going to go into a deeper dive with empathy interviews and really finding out where we need changes made in classrooms at that granular level to start getting engagement up and excited about what we're learning. And if we're not excited, then we need to find ways to get excited about learning.
Okay.
Is this the same thing that where we had the meeting where you drew pictures and
Yeah,
stuff? Okay.
that was one of the pieces of it. Yep.
Because I was looking at the dates, I'm like, it's already started.
It did, yes. Yep. And the students survey came out, but we're going to do another one because we only had 15 students the first time conduct this or take the survey. We only had 7 show up to that event. And when we had 15 take the online surveys, that's really not a full picture of our school community. So we're going to keep working on that.
This is not intended to be a critical question, but I do have a question.
Yeah.
How are you seeing staff engagement in this? You know that that first night was a little bit low. It was not attended
It's
well.
not where I want it to be yet.
Okay.
And so actually he's going to come out and do a 2-hour training with the staff right before that board meeting.
Okay.
I don't think they understand. I haven't done a good job articulating really big picture. This is what our mission is here with this work. And so bringing that back to the front, and I'm going to have him come in and help explain it too. So it's not my initiative. It's our initiative to move this place forward.
Okay.
Yep.
That seems like important stuff.
Mhm.
The difference between a kid that likes their class and wants to come to school and it's great versus the ones that are like, nah.
And
Huge
do they feel like their voice is heard? Do they feel like it's meaningful to them? Is it culturally relevant to them? Is it, all of those pieces really are important. So,
I don't imagine, well, we don't need to be there for that learning session because that's really a staff thing. But if there are things that we need to do as a board to support you or the staff in this, I think that's a conversation that you can bring to us. Does that work?
yep, I think that's great. And I did also share like our core values that we did at the beginning of the year. So I put that in there. I have the strategic plan in there. And so they're really taking all of that data and sifting through it to see how it aligns.
So you do not need a vote on this this evening, correct?
No, I just want to share it.
information.
Yeah.
Are there any questions on this or feedback? Sean and I tend to just speak up.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you. Looking forward to that. All right. The SHS summaries for 6th and 11th grades.
Yes. There wasn't enough data to show the 8th grade one.
Okay.
We didn't have enough participate. So really, there's nothing to vote on. It's just to share the Healthy Teen Survey results and kind of a finger on the pulse of the mental health, behavioral health of our students. And I'm not surprised by the results. Just having dealt with some of these kiddos, you know what they're going through. And the 11th grade is a little more alarming, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it just really points to, we have a great service, mental health supports. It's 1 day a week. It's not enough. It's
Yeah, I
just not
imagine I'm
enough.
thinking a lot about school counselor and like how much better it would be if there was somebody here all the time because
Yeah.
you're the one who comes in does great work, but they're not there
It's
identifying the kids who need it or could benefit from it is so much more difficult.
It
If you
really
leave it
is.
to the staff to identify them rather than the mental health professional themselves.
The mental health needs don't happen on a schedule.
No, they don't. And I think, yes, some of this information is alarming, but not alarming. Overall, it's actually a pretty good picture.
Yeah.
Overall,
It
we'll
is.
look at like looking at the big picture. But it doesn't change or negate that there are individuals that do have issues that need to be addressed.
100%.
But I do think, to your staff and to you, this isn't an ALSI issue. This is a healthcare systemic issue.
Yep.
And so I think actually sharing these results and talking about it is part of that step to move forward of normalizing the need for mental health.
Absolutely. Yes. Yep.
I had a question about just the numbers. They said, they need to have 10 numbers to show it. And then I'm like, there's not 10 responses on these.
On which I think
Well, most of them, they don't.
tend to take the full survey.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't think they had to answer all the questions.
There was a statement here that said there's a minimum number of 10 responses to display it. That 10 responses for the whole thing, not because I'm looking at the ones that are
Yes.
displayed and they're like 8, 7. I'm like,
Gotcha. Yes. 10 total. I believe. I actually don't get to administer it. We just set it up and then the kids take it. So
And one thing I was thinking about reading this was back to that discipline data and my statement that, a lot of the discipline is due to, mental health and feeling of belonging and stuff like
Yes.
that. I'm like, one thing that I think is lacking is sometimes discipline data or individual discipline incidents don't always get communicated well to parents.
Mm.
And so then parents don't always know that their kid might, benefit from seeing like
Gotcha.
what do they call the skills coach?
Okay.
Or-
Yeah, there's a referral process for them.
Yeah, and the parents have to know that their kid would benefit from it. And if
Yes.
they don't know, their kid's getting in trouble.
I would say I would be really surprised to hear that parents don't know this year. A tracker, you wouldn't know. Tracker, they said something sarcastic on the playground. We tracked it as, hey, that's not really appropriate, nice. But we're not going to get a call on that. Anything major you're going to get a call. Parents will get calls. So if that is truly the feedback that people don't feel like they know, then that's something we'll need to dive into. So I would be surprised to hear that.
I think it was more the tracker type stuff.
Oh,
So
gotcha.
like myself as a parent, like I want to know every time my kid does something bad. But of course, there's no
time for that.
time.
I'm sorry.
I don't want to know that.
That's cool to like tell me about my kid.
There, not for a little time. I mean, the thousands of talking back, running in the hall. I mean, there's no way. We don't have the staff to do that. Now, if you get 5 or 6 of them, then absolutely.
Thank you for that information. I guess I think overall I would just say, I like that we're asking the questions.
Mhm.
So, yeah. The bullying number was hard to swallow.
Mhm.
Okay, I have a critical concept on that though, because bullying is not, the definition for bullying is not provided to these students. And I
Exactly.
deal with this with I think we deal with this with adults, like somebody hurt my feelings is not the same thing as bullying.
Exactly.
Bullying is actually tied to
specific.
race, and it's a continuous process that somebody's, and so if I had feedback for this company, it would be, please define your terms
Right.
so that what we're reporting on, we know, because I think these are words that are used without definition and sometimes not always helpful.
And then
But
I'll get labeled as I have
bullying,
it.
harassment's one of those.
Yeah.
It's
I actually have a sheet, and when kids come in saying I'm bullied, like, okay, are they rude? Are they mean? Are they harassing you? Or is it bullying? Because there's this whole spectrum, and we take them through it and say, oh, they're being mean. Okay, well, that's not okay.
Yeah.
But we're going to address that in a different way.
I'm not saying it's not
Yeah.
happening. I don't want to.
No, but I think you have a valid point.
I don't want to hurt anybody in that feedback. It just
Right.
we would benefit by teaching what those things are.
Mhm, mhm. We want that to be a 0.
Yes.
And if there's a way to get everybody to answer every question on the survey, it'd be so great. But I
Yeah,
remember being in 6th grade. I don't know that I would answer to all of them either.
right.
Even if you're like, it's totally anonymous.
Right.
No, they'll be able
They'll
to.
know it's me.
They'll know it's me.
Yeah.
All right. Cohort ASIC goal monitoring report.
It's open. So again, this was it. It really is just sharing with you that we had some non-compliance, and I'm going to go through a training with our district rep, basically. And I actually cannot remember her name. Sorry, she's not watching. It's like Charisse or something, but she will take me through it, and basically show me where I need to make those changes and get those in place. And I can report that back at the next meeting. I honestly don't know what they are, because it's a lot of different ones. My guess is the timelines are probably off. A referral, a meeting didn't happen within the 60-day window, or it didn't happen before an annual or something to that effect.
Any questions?
My question was from before, like what student level non-compliance is, but if you don't know the details on every single one, you may not be able to tell me.
Yeah, I can't honestly tell you right now because I don't feel like I know exactly what they are, because they don't have them explicitly laid out in this letter. We have to go into the files, and she's going to take me through those.
That's something you can do, but nobody else can.
Yes. Well, typically it was the SPED teacher
Well, by everybody else, I'm referring to us and the public.
Oh, yeah, no, you cannot.
Hear about.
No, you cannot have that. No.
All right. Thank you for that. All right, we do have a vote on this next one. There's a proposed calendar. I wanted to actually, before we jump
Yeah.
into it, because you might have some details to share. Thank you for taking it to them ahead of time rather than to us. And I'm so glad to hear that you had a good turnout on voices in that one.
Yeah, thanks. So a couple pieces that were key. And of course, I don't have that data in front of me, but it was about a 65% of the staff wanted to start before Labor Day. 62% wanted to do extra PD and in-service before school started. They really liked, I mean, it accidentally happened this year with the construction, but they loved having a week to get their room ready, prepped, so that when they sat down for the trainings, their brain was engaged in that training
Right.
and in that professional development. So they weren't like, oh, I gotta get to my room and which kids do I have and what do I need to get ready?
And the rooms would be easier to set up this time.
Exactly. Yes. And so that's where that is pieced together there starting the 18th and then PD 25th, 27th. We did pop in, and this was voted on too. I cannot remember, it's about 56% wanted the Fridays front loaded in September. So again, kind of like we did this year, is when we get all the diagnostics, those baseline data points. Staff are able to work together and really get those RTI systems in place at the beginning. And honestly, front load from being gone for a couple months over the summer. We talked about a 2:00 release that day. So we had PLC time. On a 4-day week, it is hard to also squeeze in an hour or two of staff working together. And so they thought that would be a great idea on those Fridays. Students would be dismissed at 2 and they would work till 4:15 together in their PLCs to get that going. And then we do 2 a month moving forward, but it would be a great way to kind of front load it and get everything able to do.
Will you use your reminder system, whichever you use at the time to remind? Well,
Yes.
that'll be like a normal thing that comes out of like.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Okay.
And it would only be those Fridays. And then what that really allows us to do as well is there are no Fridays the rest of the year. There's no confusion. There's no, like, I'm not coming in. Teachers aren't going to come, it's just that whole system of Friday not being as effective as it should be.
Better attendance, probably.
Mhm. The only one we did have in there is, actually,
The Friday after Labor Day.
Besides that.
oh, just after, and it's just September. Sorry.
Yeah, I saw only Fridays in September.
So we tried to truly stick.
We can add some snow.
If
If we need to, there's still actually all the hours are still way above. And I will get that calculated for you. But it's, quite a few days.
So-
It's 4 days built in.
So last month you talked about the different options for the calendars, because here I only see the one that.
I did. I took it to the teachers. I took both to the teachers and I had them vote and it was 100% for this. So I said, I'm going to bring this.
Can you remind me of major differences between the other one and
Yes.
this one?
So Fridays were not set in September. And then after all of those Monday holidays, we did the Friday work day like we're doing this year.
And start date and end date.
We're the same. Yeah.
Or just that Friday piece?
It was just really the Fridays.
Okay, thank you.
Great. Well, we can consider a motion on this one.
I moved to it.
Yeah, Jamie.
Go ahead, Jamie.
A motion to
Your turn.
approve the 26-27 Alsea School District calendar as presented.
All right, there's a motion to consider. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay.
All right. Any other discussion? We asked some questions there already, but any other discussion? Okay, Laura, go ahead.
Okay, Soren,
Yes.
Jamie. Jamie,
Oh, she's working on it.
Yes. Hit me at the button.
Yes.
Christine,
Yes.
motion carries 4-0.
All right, the next one is mine about the 80s stipend. So Stacy's been working, I want to say since January now. Is that correct?
No, good. Yeah.
Okay.
No, but
But
by
we gave-
myself.
but by yourself, 100% since January as our AD. And the goal here is love to be able to buy her more time, but we can't. We've budgeted the AD stipend for the year to pay out. We're not paying it currently, and so we can transition that to provision that to the superintendent and add the vote to give that to her. The other thing I would just caution us against too is, well, that looks like a saving money. It doesn't mean that we don't need that replacement position. So I would hate the optics to look like, well, we did it before. Why are we adding this in? Because we know leadership positions have been heavily scrutinized. But I don't think this is a long-term solution.
Yeah.
We haven't had a great conversation because I got like 5 minutes with her to say I was bringing this here. But I did want the board to know also that this isn't something that was asked of us. I'm bringing this to the board to consider because I think that we need to have this conversation. Anything I missed in that? Okay.
Yeah,
So-
I definitely want someone.
Okay. Yeah. And so again, I don't want it to look like we
Yeah.
like halfway through the year, hey, we didn't need this. We budgeted for it, didn't need it. And then next year come into it and it's fine to be questioned on what we budgeted for. We should be questioned on that. But I don't want it to look like now we need it when really we truly needed it this year also.
So the AD stipend, that's mentioned in the contract, correct?
No, it is not mentioned in the contract. Jamie, keep me honest. You have a sped piece in the contract.
No, I'm sorry, I was referring to the negotiated, the
The-
union
the
contract.
Oh, it's
CBA.
in this.
It's in the
Yes, it is a
There-
CBA.
There is an AD stipend. If you recall, Mr. Harris was receiving that stipend when he was on his leave of absence. That stipend was split between the two people that covered for that absence. And I think what Christine is requesting us to consider is that we now pay Stacy for the work that she's doing in that space, just like we have compensated every other person who has done the duties.
Right, because the stipend in the collective bargaining agreement doesn't apply to management people. We were just been expecting them to just do it.
It can apply to a leadership position. It
think
can apply it because technically your vice principal, or vice principal AD would have been a position, but also then the stipend could be paid on that space as well. So
Yeah, I feel like whoever's doing it should be getting paid for it. It's not a small job. It may seem like it on the outside, but it's not.
So while I don't usually motion, I am going to motion this evening, and I'm just going to make a motion to compensate the superintendent with the AD stipend starting January of 2026 through June of 2026.
I'll second. that.
Or
Until we can bill it.
Yep. That is it. So Jamie seconded, and is there further questions or discussion that we want to have?
Fair to me, and I say we should, whoever's doing it should get paid.
Okay.
That's it.
I'm sorry to make it harder for you, Stephanie, on the back pay.
No problem.
All right, there's some motion second. We've had some discussion. Laura, can you do roll call vote?
George,
Yes.
Soren,
Yes.
Jamie,
Yes.
Christine,
Yes.
motion carries 4-0.
All right. Sorry while I look up a message from Jamie because she sent me a picture. Thank you. Okay, superintendent evaluation is the next one I wanted to chat with us. We're a little bit behind. So we should have done an exec session in January, and then we actually should have been finalizing a lot of the feedback this month. But in a quick little side conversation, I'll bring that back next month to do a little addendum to her contract to just push that date out. We have flexibility because we were so early in this. But we should have an executive session next month to talk about your goals and also just feedback in general. So we'll want to put that on the agenda for March. And then we should be gathering information, compiling results, and then we should be meeting with you in March also. And then in April, we would give you your evaluation, yes, in April, we would do another executive session prior to the meeting, go through the summary, and then unless you wanted it publicly, and then we would just provide the community and your evaluation summary.
Mhm.
So that there's a little bit of adjustment in that space, but I would.
We had originally moved those dates up because we hadn't, I think when we did this calendar, we hadn't hired her.
You are 1,000,000%
Yes.
correct.
That's true.
That is
So
correct.
we
So maybe
do have
they-
some space in that schedule.
Thank you, Jamie. That is a great correction.
Yeah, because I remember like even talking about the fact that we're probably gonna have to move some of these around.
Right.
Yeah.
So what we've done in the past is I will email Vince and say, hello, we'd like to gather information. Stacy, I guess first year superintendents, we don't usually do a 360 evaluation on. Do you feel adamant one way or the other? Okay. Does the board feel adamant one way or the other?
I like the idea of it, but I have heard much discussion about that. Like at first, it's not a great idea until people are very familiar with the superintendent. I agree with that also. So I'm not adamant one way or the other.
My question in that space would be is I know there's a lot of moving, shaking. Do you feel, Stacy, that you have the adequate time to invest in this to make it really worth your time and not rushed, and that we support you like you expect?
It needed to be meaningful.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm wrong on the dates, you guys. Sorry.
It's okay.
So executive session would be in March to review your goals. April would be thank you, Jamie, for this, because April would be the self-evaluation, board evaluation compilation, and May would be the delivery of the evaluation, evaluation.
Yeah, because we've already done a check-in on her goals.
Yeah, we just need to do another one, but it wouldn't be, I don't think it would be fair to do a check-in and compilation in the same month. Because I would think we want to do a
Right.
check-in and then
I thought
next,
we were into self-evaluation mode.
but we haven't done a third check-in. We haven't done an exec session to check in on goals. Which would have,
I thought the self-evaluation was executive session. Our goal check-ins, we didn't have to do two. That's why we had labeled it November and kind of crossed off fall and winter.
I mean, I guess I open it up here.
Yeah.
Looking at the picture that you sent me, and there was 3. We've only done 2.
I mean,
Yeah,
could
those
I,
weren't the check-ins like quarterly check-ins, and we were like, we don't necessarily
We don't
need to
need
do
them.
quarterly check-ins this time around.
Right. I mean, because I'm looking at the same picture that I sent you, and it has August was establish goals, November was check-in, January should be executive session for self-evaluation. February, we should have been doing the ratings,
Okay.
the compile results, and discuss with a presentation in March.
Yeah. So we would do the self-evaluation in March.
Yeah.
And then April would be a compilation of results. Sorry, April would be getting the survey and the compilation of results. And then but you would come in for that also at the very end and kind of get our feedback there. And then May would be the executive session to go through the summary, make sure we're all on the same page in that space of the findings, and then present that to the community as well in that May meeting. Did I get that correct, Ben?
I think that's accurate as long as that is compliant with her contract.
If not, I don't think it is. And so I think that has to come into the next meeting also to just have an agreement that we vote on also that I'd have to look at the contract. I don't have it in
Okay.
front of me.
Okay.
And then I remember before there was discussion about when we did our little survey and then gave the results to Stacy in an executive session. There was either she could respond to that at that time or wait
Yeah.
another month to have time to digest it and tell us what you think about what we thought.
I think we can just get it done.
Okay. So then Laura, can I send you an email? So unless the board feels differently, I feel bad. I don't want to set dates tonight with Russ not here, but could we work together on like a schedule and then compile some dates for all of these meetings and then send it out to the board and because you will need to be it.
Mhm.
Does that work for everybody?
This preliminary general timeline sounds okay for squeezing everything in.
Okay. Then I don't believe there's a vote to be made because we don't need to vote to set dates anyways. So we'll just I'll send Lauren and we'll work through some dates and times and go from there.
I have a question about evaluation of the principal. No, this is something we
this one's
struggled.
so hard.
This is something we struggled with.
Evaluate the principal.
Well, and also we don't evaluate the
can't,
principal.
right.
Like, that
We
only-
struggled with this quite a bit.
Yeah.
And Vince's response was, you have the ESD superintendent to it. So my first question is, how useful is that information going to be?
Right.
And when would we need to start talking to him about getting on board with this? When would a principal normally be evaluated by you? If you had a principal?
Well, in fall. And then a mid-year, January, February. Yeah. Because if they're not going to be renewed or there's an issue, it's kind of like a teacher.
Yeah.
You have to let them know in March.
Right, I'm imagining this would be somewhat truncated because he's not here every day. He doesn't really know. He's probably have some template that he's going to follow, but we do need to make sure he's on board with that if that's a direction we want to go.
Right.
I also want to just throw out, we've never in the past involved, in my tenure, we've not involved any sort of staff feedback. I think that for a first year, I don't think that's necessary, but I would like to potentially look at that moving forward, is building that into the plan to get some true staff feedback.
Yeah. Can I get clarification on that, Jamie? Do you mean for the principal or the superintendent? I think for the. Okay, because we had talked about the superintendent, but you're talking about for the principal. Okay.
I mean, I'm assuming that when Stacy does her evaluation, she's getting input from all stakeholders to do that evaluation. So I think it's only fair and appropriate that we do the same. I don't think it's fair and appropriate to, put that criticism on any potential criticisms on a first year who's coming in, heavy lifting. However, I think that's valuable input moving forward in consecutive years.
Yeah, I'd be happy with getting that sort of information and just take it with a grain of salt. You're like, we know this is for a first year superintendent. People may not know the whole story. I'd like to have it.
I think it'd be really important too because a lot of people don't know the role of the superintendent versus the principal. So there would need to be some clarification to the staff so they could understand, this is not good here. Oh, well, this is actually a superintendent role or vice versa. I think there would need to be some education on that.
Well, especially when it's so, foggy.
But I'm fine. I mean, I'm fine if you want to get staff input. I feel like that's going to be more meaningful. Jason's wonderful, but he's never here. I don't know how he would know.
Yeah, that's like when Vince told me, like the quick answer is the ESD superintendent does that. I'm like, I don't know how meaningful that would be unless there's some legal check marks that need to happen by somebody.
Well, for a true evaluation, they have to be a licensed administrator to evaluate the principal. So it does make sense that he would be that person to give the official feedback. He would have to come talk to the staff. He would have to come spend time here. He would have to.
Do you reach out to him to ask those questions? I'm like, that's not our role. That was different.
Right.
That's not, yeah.
Yeah.
So we haven't done it in the past. I definitely think it's a step forward in all of our maturity to start that conversation even for this year. I would say I love the feedback option also. I'd like to see us build that in with Jamie's suggestions on education of roles for next year, because I think it's a little bit more complex than we have time to necessarily dive into this year, but that's my thought.
Yeah, because I recall we spend a lot of time struggling with, even amongst ourselves on the board, when during the superintendent evaluation, separating out those principal pieces and not trying to address those.
Yeah. Right. They do overlap.
And that's why I brought up with Vince. So we spent a lot of time talking about this and having trouble separating that out. And he's like, well, you have the ESD superintendent do it. Okay.
I just think it's fair and transparent, gives every stakeholder a voice, and that's for us to, to navigate through, but I think it's fair.
Okay, so here's what I'm gonna recap and summarize what I heard tonight. We're gonna adjust the schedule a little bit. Laura and I will we'll talk a little bit, then dates will go out to the board to decide on the different areas to meet, so we have that all on our calendars. Stacy is going to reach out to Jason at the ESD about the principal evaluation piece. And then next year, we'll look at a 360 evaluation to support you in the principal role and the superintendent role, really taking time to get that out to staff feedback. Did I summarize that correctly?
I think that sounds appropriate.
Sounds good.
There's no vote needed on that one. So we can go into, we have nothing under our old business. Nothing for first reading, nothing for second reading. And then board comments. Any board comments?
Not going home. Well, it's late out still yet.
Yes,
We're getting there.
Meetings this short in a couple months.
Yeah, we'll be.
Okay, any future agenda items to consider? Well, then with that, let's go through some key dates. Next Monday, February 16th, is President's Day, so there'll be no school, but that does mean that we have school on Friday, February 20th. February 25th, Immunization Exclusion Day. Anything special in that?
What is
What is
it?
that?
So all of,
So students who it hits typically the hardest, like kindergartners who haven't gotten all of their immunizations. And 7th grade is the next big hit because that's where they want their tetanus booster. And so if they don't have all of those immunizations in, then it gets reported to Benton County Health Department. And then they will send an exclusion letter to the parent letting them know that if we don't have something in place, whether it's proof that you've had your immunizations updated, or there's an option to go on to the Oregon Health Authority's website and do an exclusion letter where you just say, I don't want to do this, or I can't get in. And so that's what that is. So if they don't have all those updates or some form of a non-medical exemption, they can't be in school until it's taken care of.
Okay, so that date is February 25th. So immunization records have to be updated by then. March 2nd is our OSBA community event at Deb's Cafe at 5 p.m.
yes.
March 3rd, we'll have some hearing screenings for our kindergarten through second graders. And then we'll have our next board meeting on March 9th with a staff, with the inflection staff before that, right?
Actually, no, it'll be April.
Oh, never mind.
Yep.
Okay, well, just the board meeting then. And with that, we are adjourned at 7:13. Thank you, everybody, for being here this evening.
Goodbye, people.
It's for the calendar.
Yeah.
So next year, instead of